Coming up on JPTV, a look at the ground beneath the soccer cleats, plus what your kids will be talking about when they head back to school, and a park pace tribute to a song. All that and more coming up now on JPTV.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of JPTV, bringing you stories about Jacksonville's parks, people, and places. I'm Pam Roman. We are starting today's show here on the soccer fields at Ed Austin Regional Park. We'll have more about these fields a little later, but first up, our own Kelly Jordan had the opportunity to spend the day with park naturalist Shelley Bevel at Huguenot Memorial Park, where she got a bird's eye view of how we protect our fine feathered friends.
Jacksonville is home to two oceanfront parks that play a key role in the ocean's ecosystem. One is Hanna Park, and the other is Huguenot Memorial Park. Huguenot in particular is crowded in the summer months, but it's not what you might think. As park naturalist Shelley Bevel explains, Huguenot's crowds have feathers.
Bird nesting season at Huguenot really begins in March and it goes through September, but protection doesn't really begin as far as on the beach closures until we see chicks on the beach. And that's when we close zone 11 to 12.5 to driving. And that's for sea nesting birds. We also have solitary nesting shorebirds like Wilson's plover and the willet, and they tend to nest on the inlet side. So their season is very similar, but we will also have to close the inlet side to driving, sometimes a little bit earlier. We do have 6 different species in the park that nest, but the 2 main ones are colony nesters. They're royal terns and laughing gulls. They're seabirds. Royal terns and laughing gulls nest in the dunes, but they prefer different types of habitat. Laughing gulls like to nest in vegetation. They actually build nests with, like a typical bird nest with vegetation, and they lay the eggs in the vegetation. They usually have 2 to 3 eggs per nest. Royal terns, however, like to nest on the dune crest in sand, and they just dig a little hole and they lay their egg in it, and then they sit on it the whole time. And they nest much closer together than laughing gulls do, even though they all nest in colonies. Royal terns have 1 egg per nest, and they're very attentive to it. They're very good parents. Laughing gulls have 3 eggs because whichever one they like the best is the one they take care of. Seabird nesting colonies, the royal tern and the laughing gulls is the largest colony in the state of Florida as far as the records that I know of. So it's a huge benefit for those birds. It's a place where people can come and see thousands of baby birds while also being able to recreate at the park. So we try and do a really good job of merging conservation and recreation.
75. They say 75. And another common tern.
Having the birds at Huguenot is quite a treat each year, but it is also a lot of work.
We do a weekly survey where we count all of birds in the park. We have between 27 and 55 different species in the park per survey. Our counts can range from 2,000 birds in December, mostly small shorebirds that are stopping over here to feed, to a good count in June when there's chicks of all ages and lots of different birds. We'll have 18,000.
Every effort is made to protect the birds from the dangers of people, but it is still an ecosystem, and nature does take its course.
This beach is an ecosystem, and we're here to protect the birds from any kind of negative interaction with people. However, there's still, nature happens, and so we still have predation that occurs, exhaustion sometimes. That helps other birds. So we have birds of prey that need something to eat. The turkey vultures will come in, or the fish crows will come in. Sometimes other laughing gulls will eat a laughing gull or a royal tern. Also ghost crabs. It really is keeping this whole place going and providing for the whole ecosystem. So it is important.
While having the job of overseeing these birds is rewarding, for Shelley, sharing her knowledge with others is the exciting part.
Being able to learn myself about these things while also sharing it with other people is really great, because I don't know everything about everything. So then I get to go learn about it and then get excited, and I can show other people. So that's cool for me too.
We're moving now from the ocean to the river. Local kayak guide John Pemberton and our own Kelly Jordan invite you to pick up your paddles and join their latest exploration.
Hi, I'm John Pemberton, lead guide with Up the Creek Kayaks in St. Mary's, Georgia. Today we're paddling Pumpkin Hill Creek, and this is a state and Duval County park. You launch in the state side, and we're going to go and end partially in the city side. And when you go kayaking, don't forget PFD, wear your safety vest. Go with a guide that knows what they're doing and can help you paddle better and rescue you in case something does happen. And don't forget your float plan. When you go kayaking, you want to leave a float plan so people know when you're leaving and when you expect to be back. If you launch from here, if you go right, you're going to go down near homes where the creek really does narrow out, and at low tide you can't get in there anyway. If you go left from here, you can go across the creek to the open areas, and there's a beautiful loop where you can loop around and continue on north up to Betts Tiger Point. And just as a tip, once you get here and you're ready to launch your kayak, make sure that you wear heavy shoes, either closed shoe or certainly a deep, heavy sandal. The oyster beds here can cut, and it's very dangerous. When you paddle Pumpkin Hill Creek, you'll see a variety of shorebirds. Unlike other traditional creeks, this one is wide open, and we have a lot of area to explore. The salt marshes here are wide and expansive, and at high tide, you can actually paddle through the salt marshes. Pumpkin Hill Creek is a beautiful creek. You'll have a great time, lots of fish, lots of wildlife, and just an amazing thing to see, and you'll probably be alone because it's one of the unfound beauties of Jacksonville.
These soccer fields look really great right now, but you'd be surprised at what goes into keeping them that way.
Jacksonville is a hotbed for soccer with the Armada and all the number of sports associations that we have that do soccer. And one of the things that we do for the department is the associations manage the parks, but then we manage the maintenance of a lot of these parks. And at Austin Regional Park, we're doing a soccer field rehab project. It's really a two-phase project where two of the large fields are being resodded, and then two of the large fields are being what we call sprigged. It's more than just coming in and cutting the grass and exposing the soil. It's a long-term project. From inception to completion is about a 3-month process. We originally had to go in and actually just measure the entire area to get our acreage. It's a project of 8.5 acres, and that's pretty significant. To do the whole complex at one time and close it down and have that luxury to be able to do that is really important. We have to map out exactly the areas that we want to have done. Then our crews go in and what we call degrass those areas. And they do that by killing all the grass first, because we don't want any of those excessive weeds that we're trying to get out of there to remain. So we do 2 sprayings of essentially a herbicide to kill the grass. And then we go in with machines and cut the grass off, and then we go in second after that with what we call a laser grader or a grader to give us our finished slope so that we have good drainage. And then now we're ready for the sprig or the sod. There are a number of issues or reasons why we do this project, and the first one is player safety. That is the biggest thing in any regard that when we do any of our maintenance. Is participant or player safety. And what had happened over the years over at Austin is just from use, they've developed divots and they've developed low spots, so the surface wasn't an even plain surface.
Obviously you walk into a park and you want it to have all the amenities and look pretty, but reality is that we have kids out here that are 4 years old to 19 years old. And one injury, even at 6, 7 years old, can impact a player for life. And we have kids out here that are trying for college scholarships. Like on my team, these kids are 17 years old. They go out and they get caught in one of these holes running full speed. Imagine running full speed and then all of a sudden hitting a hole and tearing an MCL or an ACL. You may never play soccer again. So it's pretty crucial.
The timeline is one of those things that's kind of fluid. We have a timeline on paper, but the timeline on paper doesn't always translate to the timeline of reality. But hopefully with good control we'll be playable by Labor Day, and that's kind of our goal, is to make sure that come Labor Day that both the sodded and the sprigged fields are up and ready to go for their season.
I will say this, it's been an outstanding experience on behalf of our club, Arlington Football Club, and the community to work with the city.
It was a good feeling to know that you've provided a really good upgrade and an improvement to a facility and to a location. Beyond that, it's important for us to be able to maintain that. You know, to get it to that point is one thing and is great, but then you want to be able to establish a regimen and a process that we can maintain and keep it at that point. That's really the biggest goal is, all right, you do it, but then what? Then we want to get to the point where it's provided to them on an ongoing basis.
Still ahead, what stories are your kids sharing about their summer? And later, the men and music that inspired so many. Don't go away.
Honey! I'm okay.
This message brought to you by USFA and your local fire department. Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to JPTV. Well, with our kids back in school, we thought it'd be a good time to take a look back at summer youth programs with Jax Parks. First up, a teen-based program focused on preventing crime. But did it really make a difference? Let's take a look.
Okay, now watch me, Nene. Okay.
The lights were on at 3 Jax Parks community centers this summer for Summer Night Lights, or as we like to call it, SNL. For 6 years now, SNL has kept select parks open late into the summer evenings with a focus on giving kids a safe and fun place to go. This year, with a new district manager leading the charge, the initiative included a basketball league, extended partnership with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, dance program, and several enrichment activities. And more than 950 youth turned out each night. But did SNL really accomplish what it set out to do?
Change is a tough thing, and I think it takes longer than a summer to make change in a student or in a child. And what I wanted to do with this program is plant a seed inside the teenagers and the youth. And I want that seed to grow and foster inside of them so they can look back when they're in a situation or the moments they spent here with our staff and the programs and opportunities they had learning from our volunteers and say, you know what, when I get ready to make that decision, it might not be a good decision. I want that conscience to sit on their shoulder and say, hey, you know, what would we do at SNL? What do I learn from, you know, and think back about those programs and those choices when we talk about things and what they learned here to say, hey, I'm not going to make that bad decision. I'm going to go the right way.
It's been a perfect fit. You know, with these buildings here where the kids can come and are looking for something positive besides what's going on in their neighborhoods and things that they're exposed to at a very young age, to be able to come and to escape that from a small period of time, even if it's 2 or 3 hours, and be around other people who they can look up to, and it can give them an option, an alternative to actually hopefully be successful in life. So that's what we try to do.
That's what the adults have to say. But what about the youth SNL is supposed to serve?
So we got a lot of classes that come here. And a lot of classes, they teach you about life. They teach you about the environment. They teach you about your finances. They teach you about just life, period. A lot of everything that goes on in life. And you know, and that helped a lot of kids find out, because a lot of kids come here, they don't know about their finances. They don't know about life. You know, it's just a lot of stuff that goes on around here that help other kids get more knowledge.
If they didn't come here, they'd be pretty much making bad decisions. And like up here, like you're around so many people, and like you getting good vibes from everybody. You can't like do anything wrong. Like
a lot of friends. I have about 6 friends right now that's locked up, you know, for making bad choices. But you know, SNL wasn't there at the time. You know, it wasn't summertime when they made the bad choices. You know, and I wish I could have them here right now to come to SNL to keep them out of trouble. But sadly to say, it didn't go like that.
If you're not up here, you don't have nothing to do, so you find trouble or find something to do, which leads to trouble. And up here, like, we have a lot of programs for you to do, for you to involved with other people, and you know.
It's cool to learn, like everybody engaged to learn it. Because if I'm learning it and you my cousin or you my friend, we're gonna learn together. Everybody make it cool here because you safe, you playing basketball, you going to classes, learning about other stuff.
They learning from someone in their age group instead of them being us learning from someone older. They learning from us so like they can connect to us more. Instead of seeing my friends being in jail or being dead, as you know how it's been going in Jacksonville, you know, I'd rather see them being in here playing basketball with me every day, and that's what they do. And that's what the program do. It help them feel safety enough not to know that it won't be no guns in the gym, it won't be no fighting in the gym, it's just friends playing basketball. I just love the organization, really. I just can't, it's a lot to it.
A look at crime statistics related to this year's 3 SNL sites show a 69% decrease in crimes from the same time period last year. So a big thank you to this year's SNL partners, including Justified Services, Junior Achievement, Celebration Church, Natural High, Netball Youth Sports Association, and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
This summer, Jax Parks also introduced a new program in partnership with Duval County Public Schools. Kelly Jordan has more.
2, 3. The Summer Safe Zone is a partnership between the City of Jacksonville and Duval County Public Schools. It's an opportunity to keep our kids and our community students off of the street during the summer.
The City of Jacksonville came to us and said, listen, how about partnering with us on this great, awesome venture? And what is it? Well, how about opening up some gyms so that our young people have safe, organized play during the summer? We had to jump on it.
We had an awesome opportunity for our students, awesome level of enrollment. Our first couple of days we had an enrollment of about 10 to 20 students, but then when the word got out, that we've had about 70 students per day.
My summer was outside courts, you know, in the house, eating, sleeping, playing the game. As soon as I heard the gym was open, I got over here in a hurry. You know, I was an hour early playing basketball with everybody. Now this gym, everybody in there, everybody having a good time.
This is the opportunity for them to come to a safe place as far as the community schools and have rec center type activities to keep them off of the street.
What says more than this is an okay place to be in than your school, right? Your neighborhood school.
You know, I told everybody about it as soon as I heard about it because I wanted to keep everybody safe. If somebody is in this gym from 2 to 8, that can change them from being out there and getting into a dangerous situation. And this gym can change all of that.
When we sit down and debrief at the end of the year, the city and the Duval County Public Schools, I think it's going to be a check in the box called win. This is a win-win for everybody.
We recently received awesome news for Jax Parks Recreation Division. This summer, all 12 camps for its 2015 programs received a score of 100 and an excellent rating from the Jacksonville Children's Commission. The Commission reviews items such as facility programming and conditions, safety, and nutrition. So what did Jax Parks do to achieve such a high score? Let's take a look.
This year, Jax Parks summer camps added to their traditional activities with new educational programs and hands-on experiences.
This day and age, kids are caught in the house a lot, watching TV, playing video games. You know, there's less and less of the kids out walking nature. So the, you know, bringing the kids out into nature, doing those, whether it's bird watching, nature walks, taking them to the beach, and more than just swimming in the water, but teaching them different activities such as surfing. They may have a passion that they never realize unless they're exposed to that.
For some of these campers, this boating excursion was their first trip on the St. Johns River, while others took their first walk along the shoreline at Huguenot Memorial Park. Fishing was a favorite activity for a lot of the kids. Florida Fish and Wildlife taught them how to bait a hook, cast a reel, wait patiently, and catch a fish. Specialty camps like tennis, aqua, and ocean camp continued to be popular this year, rounding out a successful summer, begging the question, what was next for Jax Parks Recreation team?
We're looking to continue to improve, reinvent the wheel a little bit. We don't want to just continue to do the same day-to-day activities that you get wherever you know, at any program. We want to be creative, expose the kids to nature, expose them to different sports and looking at possibility of, whether it's throughout the year for after-school programming or even in the summer, various opportunities for additional field trips.
Time for a quick break, but when we come back, one park honors 2 legendary men, and Jacksonville residents celebrate a 25-year milestone. Stay with us.
"7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step."
Shell shock, psychoneuroses, battle fatigue, PTSD. So far as combat is concerned, I think the stress is going to be the same in any kind of a war.
I think it takes strength to recognize that you need help and to get the help.
Ask your squad leader, platoon sergeant for help. If you get shot up, you don't hesitate about going for treatment. A lot of times you can be wounded in your mind. There's nothing wrong by bringing that to other people's attention and asking for help.
Welcome back to JPTV. We have moved over to one of Jacksonville's newest parks. It's the birthplace of 2 legendary men and a song that united African Americans across the country.
A song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rise.
When exploring the rich history of Jacksonville, Florida, it is inevitable. 2 names that will come up are the names James Weldon Johnson and John Rosamond Johnson, the Johnson brothers. These are true stars, true native sons of Jacksonville, known, of course, for their great legacy, Lift Every Voice and Sing, penned right here in Jacksonville at their home on their front porch. But there's so much more about those 2 brothers and the legacy they left, not just for Jacksonville, Florida, but for our nation. When you talk about James Weldon and John Rosamond, or Jay Rosamond, you look at the brothers, they had a lot of similar qualities, but they were different in a lot of ways too. First, they were both highly educated. Both were involved their lives in music in a big way. The difference is Jay Rosamond, the younger brother, he would devote his life to the composition of music, the study of music, music education.
The impact of both brothers is just on the community. It's just one thing that you just can't say enough about.
They are our first international artists that have come out of Jacksonville, downtown, the La Villa area.
They're great duo of a work, and they had many works together, but the pinnacle would have happened right here in Jacksonville at their Lee Street residence on their front porch, where they composed jointly Lift Every Voice and Sing. So James Weldon, as he describes it, was on the porch penning the words to this piece of poetry. And he's leaning into the window where John Rosamond is in the home with an upright piano, attempting to come up with this melody. And James Weldon says, as he got to the last verse, he could not control his emotions, and he said the tears burst forward. And anybody who reads that piece of poetry by James Weldon Johnson, Lift Every Voice and Sing, or they read his great masterwork, God's Trombones, they can only imagine the motion this brings in a creative personality.
When you hear the song, like if you were to hum the beginning of the song and you're with an African American of a certain age, you'll start seeing them start to sing it, and they know every word, and there's amazing things. So when it was set to music and taught to the children they had actually went back to New York. They were working with Bob Cole to do musical theater, and they had no idea all of the schools here started to distribute it and were singing it.
144 years ago, James Weldon Johnson was born right here in Jacksonville, Florida, and this was his home. And that's why we chose.
So there's a lot of history linked to Jacksonville. So I learned where James Weldon Johnson and John Rosman Johnson were born and raised at the northwest corner of Lee and Houston, and where the Negro National Anthem was actually written.
Now we know it's important for the community to know the right spot, the right location, and to move on forward, to really recognize these two men because for their great work.
The James Weldon Johnson birth site unfortunately no longer has a home on it, but it's still a very significant site to the history of our city and to the rich cultural heritage that's still there.
1, 2, 3.
City Council agreed, the Historic Preservation Commission agreed that it's a very significant site to the city, and so that landmark was designated. So, and that preserves the site, meaning nothing can be built on it, nothing can be erected on that site unless it's consistent with the history of that site, of that location.
We're working hard right now to get a piece of public art in the park that's befitting these guys. You know, there's just some markers out there now. It's nice. It's a nice, quiet place to reflect where they were born. I mean, it's right on the spot where they were born, so it's significant. But I think we can improve it, and I think it'll be a destination for people to come to. Because again, once you start reading about these guys, you're blown away by how much they did right out of one little corner in Jacksonville, Florida.
I hope that by having this park and having it dedicated to the history that is not just James Weldon Johnson, John Rosman Johnson, but also documents the importance of La Villa, it also the importance of having a memorial to all of that, but also, and so we begin to teach and begin to fill in some of the gaps in our history and in our history books. Also, we hope that it sparks more people that want to talk about the history. I mean, that's how you keep it going.
25 years ago, another historic milestone provided freedom of access to more Americans.
The ADA has given me the independence and the security of knowing that I can be independent in my community, that I can be free from discrimination.
The ADA to me means, in one word, independence.
The ADA means to me quality of life.
The ADA means to me the importance of being able-bodied person, even though being in a wheelchair.
25 years ago, the Americans with Disability Act was signed by President George Bush out of the arm of the civil rights laws. Whereas numerous organizations in Jacksonville and throughout the state work diligently to realize the promise of hope and freedom. So on July 24th, the city of Jacksonville hosted and recognized the signing of the ADA, the 25th anniversary, which was a huge anniversary, a big milestone, at City Hall in City Council chambers with the Mayor's Disability Council, members from the disability community, and we had Dr. Moreland, who represented Mayor Curry's office, spoke about the commitment from the city of Jacksonville to our citizens with disability. Perfect. Thank you. And the interesting thing is that the ADA being 25 years, that's a milestone, but it is also kind of represents two generations. So we have a generation that maybe had a disability before the signing and maybe, soon afterwards. Then we have our younger generation that never knew the country before the signing of the ADA. It is such a
a unique opportunity that a law is allowing so much change. It really is an opportunity for us to bring the younger generation together with the older generation and kind of work together on moving forward.
That's it for another edition of JPTV. We'd love to hear what you think about the show, so please connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Google+, and Instagram. You can also learn more about your parks on JaxParksTV.com and JaxParks.com. We'll see you back here next time, and until then, we'll see you in the parks.